To get the most value out of our purchases, we need to know what mechs we can use for a chosen faction. For the Ilclan Era, that can be even harder. Let's take a look at the master unit list and find out what comes in the box, and what variants for those mechs work in the Ilclan Era, and what factions those variants are most commonly seen in, so that you can make an informed decision when choosing a Forcepack. Oh, and I saved the best mech in the box for last, so stick around. The reason why Ilclan Era can be difficult is that a lot of the mechs share the same overall chassis and silhouette as their contemporaries of the same name, but those options are not always immediately apparent when opening up a Forcepack. Luckily, the free resource, the Master Unit List, has us covered. Pulling information from there lets us see what kind of mechs we are getting and just how useful they will be to us in the Ilclan Era. A bit of an aside before we get started on the mechs. Yes, you can pretty much just rock up with any mech in your collection and call it salvage. This is totally fine, and I do it myself quite often. What this video is for is to help newer players guide their collections into the particular factions they want to collect, with a little more thematic flavoring, by willingly limiting our selections to the factions listed in the availability of the variant we are looking at. This video is just a bit of a side project, and the soft launch of another possible series to keep me busy while I work on pumping out more lore videos and battle reports. I hope that you can forgive me. With that said, let's start with the Shadowhawk. The Shadowhawk SHD-7H is both beloved and reviled by many. This medium mech, with the shoulder-mounted cannon, is often seen as undergunned, and in the Ilclan Era, we may see that reflected in its Alpha Strike rules. 2 damage is not a lot for an Ilclan Era medium, but the true strength of the Shadowhawk lies in its abundance. Periphery, Inner Sphere, and Mercenary outfits of all flavors can enjoy this mech variant. I imagine that being so common will play a part in making repair parts easy to obtain for the campaign enjoyers out there. For our purposes though, this is an inexpensive unit that can deliver a solid amount of damage, maneuver through various environments, and take a decent hit before going down with its 6 point of armors and its Case 2 protection. 10 inches of jumping movement is pretty solid, and can even place this unit in several cavalry formations due to its reliable speed and maneuverability. The skirmisher role reflects this as well. This particular model that comes in this box is depicted as jumping, with an optional base piece to trade out to instead depict a walking or running pose. I went for jumping as I am a sucker for how these look. The Gargoyle, also known as the Man o' War, is a blocky clan mech that is also relatively quick on its feet, with a 10-inch ground movement. This particular model is the C variant, which packs a respectable wallop in close to medium range to back up that speed, mounting an Ultra AC-20 and 6 ER medium lasers. It completely lacks a long-range weapon, but can hopefully close to closer ranges to deliver its punches thanks to a decent 7 points of armor in Alpha Strike. I feel like it definitely could use a little bit more in such a dangerous era, but as its cost is already a whopping 47 PV in Alpha Strike, I guess you can't have it all. This clan mech has a more limited set of faction availability, primarily operating within Clan Wolf, and its orbiting factions such as Wolf's Dragoons and other mercenary outfits, as well as Clan Sea Fox and Hell's Horses. It is also generally available to various mercenary units. It is a solid pick for those factions due to its fast speed for a size 4, and the close-range armament complements this chassis' high speed, but it does come at a cost. Also, that's a face that only a mother can love. The Catapult K2K doesn't actually have availability in the Ilclan Era, as this particular variant is extinct. We can instead play as its close lookalike, the Catapult K4. This is a purely Curitan design. It seems that during this era, they enjoyed having a fair number of their units equipped with C3 computers of various kinds, and this Catapult variant is no exception. Although this design is one of my favorites, for aesthetic reasons, its restriction to Curitan faction only is really a downer. Eschewing the regular missile loadouts of other catapults, this Blake-era design uses heavy PPCs instead, kicking this chassis out of the missile boat role and solidly into the sniper role instead, a role that the Catapult K4 seems passable at, but is a little overcosted in my opinion. Sporting a solid 4 damage in medium range and 3 in long range, this model definitely wants to reach out and touch models rather than try to brawl. With that C3 computer and MHQ special, it can provide a boost to your battlefield intelligence if you play with those optional rules, which is probably where the premium cost is coming from. And the 7 points of armor in Alpha Strike make it equally as armored as the previously covered Gargoyle. It is a tad on the slower side than you might expect a Catapult to be, at 6 inches of jumping movement, but for being so heavily armed and armored, I suppose we are just lucky it had jump jets at all. All in all, this is still going to be a desirable mech to Kiratin players, if on no other basis than coolness factor of the model, but its effectiveness for its points value may price it out for some. I saved my personal favorite for last. One comment I hear a lot about the Regent is that it is one of the best looking designs to come out of the Ilclan Era, and I kind of agree. It is indeed quite a handsome design, and its stats for Alpha Strike are not too bad either. Coming in at 51 points value, this Juggernaut can slug people pretty hard for 6 damage in close range, and a respectable 5 out to medium range, not counting the extra 2 damage you can pump into those ranges by running hot. Long range suffers a little at 3 damage, and 6 inches of ground movement is a little slow to close that gap, but in all honesty, you are probably not running this mech for those reasons. It is an Omni mech, just like the Gargoyle, and can carry MEC units such as battle armor, though it's slow enough that the Gargoyle would be a better pick for that purpose. This mech is kind of designed for a single purpose, to plod forward and destroy whatever wanders into its range, while the 9 points of armor and 7 points of structure ensure that it stays standing long enough to finish the job. It is generally available to the entirety of the Inner Sphere as an Inner Sphere general pick, in addition to mercenary outfits, but also offers availability for the Clan Protectorate, the Hell's Horses clan, and Clan Seafox. For any spheroid or merc unit, this would be a rock-solid pickup, and it looks cool as hell. So all things considered, this box is a great pickup for any mercenary commander. But Kiritins may also want this box specifically to get their hands on that Catapult. It's also a solid pickup for Clan Seafox or Clan Hell Horses for the 2 larger mechs in the box. Check out some of my other videos on formation requirements if you want an idea on how to build formations for Alpha Strike. For those who are curious on when the next lore video will come out, the answer is soon. Thanks to my Patreons for supporting this video, and until then, the battle will continue.